is MoneyMitch26, and I want to introduce my next guest. I am surprised I managed to get them on this early. This is the biggest guest I've had so far. I wasn't expecting to get this guest on until a lot later. It's a big deal. I mean, the majority of people that come into anything really, but in the Echo community, people turn up to participate. This player turned up with way bigger ambitions. They turned up to participate, in which they have. They've turned up to compete, which they have, to a decent level. But they also, how do I say this? This person has left the place better than they found it. They've contributed more, and they're probably, if not the sole reason, a big factor why a significant amount of players still play the game. This person is the founder of the Tyro community. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Keidaaski. Let's get into it. This is a big deal. No Quest 2. We're going bigger.
Yeah, thanks, man.
My name is MoneyMitch26. This is Top of the Popcorn. I'm here with Keidaaski. This is my sixth ever episode. How you doing, Keidaaski?
Hey, mate, Top of the Popcorn. I like that. That's a cool title.
Yeah. Did you get it? Top of the Pops.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah. Very cool. Ah, good thinking,
All the
man.
kids aren't going to get it, are they? They're like, oh, that's nice, popcorn.
No. Bloody millennials.
I'm going to try and get a logo as well. Wait, we're millennials. You mean Generation Z, right?
Yeah, I'm an old
Yeah,
heart,
I know, I get mixed up all the time as well. But the logo for Top of the Pops, I Googled it to remember what it looked like, and it's blue and orange. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to do like a spoof of it.
Are you able to find a way to superimpose it in the background?
Oh, mate, I'm glad I got you on the show. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I should get that in the background. Oh, there'll be a way to do it.
Ask Echo for an optimal green screen option in game, like.
That'd be awesome. So Keidaaski,
yo,
you're pretty cool, man. You do a lot. You're a busybody.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I'm busy. That was an answer to you're busy. It's like, yeah, I'm very busy. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, the kids want to call me cool. I'll take that. Yeah.
So right, first of all, I just want to talk about Tyro, right? And by the way,
Sure.
We've got ages. So, I mean, we can go for an hour. We can go for half an hour. With Bullied, we went for like an hour and 20. So if you got the time, we can carry on going if the conversation's flowing like that. But there is just a lot I want to talk about, like, not even just because it's like a show in general, but we're on a team together for ages.
Yeah.
And we never apart from LAN, we never just hung out, right? It was always like, okay, training tonight. Okay, we need to work on our game.
Yeah.
So we never had a moment like this where we can just chill and just hang out.
Yeah, just chill and have a chat and yeah, it's nice.
So the first topic I want to ask about is Tyro. So I you've alluded to it in the past. You've told me a bit before about it. But do you want to just tell the story about how it came about? So why is Tyro a thing? Why does Tyro community exist?
All right. It started by accident. I never intended it to be this big community.
Whoops.
Never intended it to be a community. It was originally a team. So I was very lucky. In my first week of playing Echo, I saw a post on Reddit from someone offering some beginner coaching, and I might record some of it. I don't know if that's okay. And I was like, I'm new to the game. I think it's really cool, but I've got no idea what I'm doing. So I'm gonna, go along as a level 2, level 3 to this training session. And it was Richie, YouTuber, and he was an excellent coach. It was him, and I think it was Alpha Wolf or someone.
Wow.
It might not have been Alpha Wolf. It's a wolf or dog or some Watchdog? No, I don't know. Someone like that. It was Watchdog or Alpha Wolf or something like that. So there's those two coaching us, and they coached us every night for like an hour for a week. And by the end of it, I left it like a level 10, but maybe with a skill set of a level 30, level 40, just because you're in the privates, drilling stuff. I could re-grab. I knew all my call-outs, and had a huge step up compared to any other new players had to learn the hard way. So I ended up just basically trying to do what he did. I went out into pubs, met some cool players, and say, if you're new like me, why don't we get into private and I can do some training? Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not a great player, but I know the fundamentals well enough now that I feel like I could pass it on. So yeah, I think we had a group of maybe 10 or 12 people, and we would just get together, do some training, and we ended up making a couple of teams out of it. And the teams were, they originally was Tyro EU, and then our little development team. This is back at beginning of season 3. We started as a team, and then we started competing towards the end of season 3. And our little development team went on to become Woohoo, who are still competing and still pretty much an unchanged team. So you had Sooty Sue, Gizmo, you know.
So like carry on from development roster, Woohoo.
Yeah. So yeah, Woohoo formed, and they've been a team ever since. And it's really nice to see that those guys they've stuck together, and they still play in VRML even in its current state. But we won't get into that. But yeah, so they're still playing together. And yeah, we had more and more people join, just word of mouth, all new players. Actually, I think the name, sorry, I've done this a bit backwards. The name Tyro didn't come around until a bit later. We were practicing together, playing together, and we were all new players, just wanting to learn. And I wanted a cool name, and I like my Greek mythology and stuff. And I was looking up some cool names, and I saw the word name Tyro, and I thought, oh, that's got a cool ring to it. When I looked into what it meant like rookie soldier, or like a new soldier learning the ropes. I was like, that's kind of perfect. So yeah, the name Tyro came from there, and more and more people joined. We realized it's mostly adults joining. I think we had a few kids in the server at the time, Barry Benson being the most notable of those, legend that he is. And we decided, yeah, why don't we just keep it to adults only? There's obviously a need for it, and as soon as we made that decision and started advertising it as an adults-only server, it just blew up. And here we are today with 1,500 members across the world.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the ball just kept rolling. And like the next thing I was going to ask is about your relationship with Luke, because now it seems to be like dual. It seemed to be both of you at one point. Like, how did that come about? How did he get involved in Tyro?
So that happened. I think we had about either 50 or 100 members at the time, and it was mainly me running it. I was getting a bit of help from some of my teammates. So Holmesy Home was helping me with stuff a lot, and we were having this kind of internal debate as to whether we keep it like a small, tight-knit community where everyone knows everyone, or whether we try and make it as big as possible, do these big events, do these new. In my opinion, the sky was the limit, Tyro. I saw this as a popular game, and it seemed to keep growing. I think a lot of people kind of were worried if it got too big, you'd lose that nice community spirit that we'd built up. So we were on the fence about that. Luke joined, and I think Luke's a business guy. You know, he'll see like an up and coming business, and this is not outside of Tyro. He'll see an up and coming business, see its potential, and take it to the next level. And I think he saw a similar thing with our community, where he saw, you know what, this is something really good. Foundations are strong, but this could be much more than it is. So we had a few calls back and forward, and it was decided, you know, come on board, make him effectively marketing and co-admin with me. And since then, yeah, he's done some great work. He's especially the NA crowd. I think Tyro was probably 80% EU to begin with, and now it's probably 10% EU. The American crowd really took to it. So yeah, and now it's Luke, and it's mainly Luke and Sertrees running it now. They're the two admins. I'm still an admin, but I've kind of silently retired, I guess, for the moment from Tyro, just because I've got so much other things going on. I'm at university.
That is something I did want to ask about. I mean, I was going to ask about it like way later. I was going to talk about loads of stuff, but
okay.
Like since you brought it up, so I have noticed that, like especially with the recent Charity Cup, like massive event we just finished that last weekend.
Yeah.
I participated in it. I played along with it. I got knocked out really early. It was really heartbreaking. We thought we'd get really far. We got knocked out like, straight away. But yeah, you're just moving on to other things, are you?
Yeah. I mean, Tyro's always going to be my baby. I like to stay around and see what's going on. But it was a huge time commitment. And when we first started talking about this Charity Cup, it's probably about 2 months ago now, we started kind of throwing ideas around. I was looking at my calendar, and so I'm a physiotherapy student anyway, and we have to do these 6-week-long clinical placements where you're kind of plonked miles away. You have to travel there and back every day, and you're working your ass off for these 6 weeks to get a good grade at the end of it. It's exhausting, and time is just not something you have much of. So I kind of said from the outset, like I said, this community cup, this charity cup, I love it. I'm all supportive of it, but I'm not going to play an active role in it because it's just bad timing for me. But everyone was so eager and keen to do it. I said, just get on and do it without me. Crack on. Yeah, I probably will get back involved with them a bit more because I set up the academy a few months ago, and that's been really successful. But I've always had it in my mind that I wanted it to be a bit of a self-governing thing that kind of runs itself. And we're really lucky with the community captains we've got, the Tyro coaches. Everyone's so eager to get involved and give back to the community that it does pretty much run itself. I think me, Luke, and Sir Trees are there for if things go wrong or for innovation, basically changing something big. So yeah, I kind of have taken a bit of a backseat with it, but I'd keep an eye on it, see how it's going on every now and then.
I wouldn't call it a retirement. I'd call it a sabbatical. I can't see you walking away from something so big that you've built and put so much of your time, effort, energy, and just life into.
I think that's right. Yeah, it's a sabbatical. Then I think that's a better way of describing it. Yeah, but it's not something I've announced. It's not something I've gone out and said. Like, I've not made an announcement. Yeah, by the way, I've just kind of quietly let myself fade into the background a bit. And now we've got Sir Trees on board as well to help Luke out. That's a huge help. Yeah, because I think Luke's a busy guy as well, and we're both very similar. Where if we don't have someone pushing us along, we will just kind of let things tick over. Every now and then, Luke or myself will get a big burst of let's do something cool.
Yeah.
So like that happened with the academy, and then this has happened with the charity cup. And
do you want to talk about the academy as well?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That was one of those moments.
I have my understanding of how it came about, and I like to tell that story because it sounds cool. But I'd love to hear it from you as well. How was it invented? Where were you? What time of night was it?
Let me think. Yeah, okay. So like most of my ideas, most of my really good ideas.
Good ideas.
It's usually about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after a bottle of rum. I get really inspired. Rum inspires me. And I mean, if you ask where the Tyro Academy started, it started with Tyro when we first started. That's what always has been. We were always new players looking to get coaching or coach each other and improve. And from the first 10 or 11 players we had, that's always been what it is. But as a kind of formal outfit now, I mean, from the start, we've hosted coaching. We've had the Tyro coaches since maybe 100 or 200 players deep, and that's just grown and grown. And then we have a big mixture of players, and I find with community events like Midweek Madness, Friday Frenzy, and all the other ones we've got now, it gets quite sweaty, and newer players don't feel like they can get involved 100%. Without getting in people's way, or they feel embarrassed for making mistakes, and it's not a nice situation to put them in. So we thought, why not give them their own space where they can learn how the game works and actually learn to play as a team, because you can go along to training camps and you can play your pubs and you'll develop your individual skills, but you'll never get good at the game until you've trained as a unit with 3 other players and you're on the same wavelength, and you learn so much more about the game that way. So that was just the idea I had. I thought, why not formalize it? Why not give them their own teams? Why not coach them as teams instead of as individuals? And then I think the next day I built all the channels for it and started putting the feelers out for coaches and stuff, and it just kind of happened.
Was it even the next day though? Was it literally the same night that you started setting up?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So this is what I'll do. I'll be up till so it's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was half cut, and I went, here's a cool idea, and I start writing it down. That's right. This is what I want to do, because I'll forget in the morning. So write it all down. Here's my plan. And I woke up in the morning. I was like, I've got nothing to do today. I'm a bit hungover. I can sit at the computer and work for a bit. And that's what I did. I made some team channels. I made a coaches channel. Started working on a few other bits and bobs that we need to go along with it. And so that was season 1, and that was the reason season 1 was quite messy, is because I did it in one day. I kind of organized it in one day. I went, you know what, let's do it, go for it. And like most of my ideas, and it wasn't organized in the best way. There's a lot of things that could. I'll just
stop you there. I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say it's a perfect storm. I think the alignment of you being drunk at 2 a.m. and coming up with the idea and instigating it, but then having this community. I believe it was in the community captains chat where did you put it there, right? Because once you said it, everyone jumped on it as well. So you sparked the fire, but this machine that you built, which is the community captains of Tyro, made it happen.
Yeah.
So it all just came together, and then so there's you with the idea and pushing it, starting it, getting the engine going. And then there's the community around it that were all for it. And then you had the students. You had people, I do. Like, I don't like going midweek madness and getting beaten up in the game. Like, I want like an environment where I can learn this game in like in a friendly environment. And what it feels like, the way I would describe it in 2 words, is a course correction.
Yeah.
For Tyro, it felt like you'd kind of woken up. You're sabbatical. You've been on a sabbatical.
Yeah.
You'd come back and you'd be like, wait, no. I want it like this. And then you push that energy back into it. And that's what it feels like. Tyro Academy is like a re-energization of the true Tyro philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that since the start. You know, we'll get it to a point where everything ticks over, but then, you know, if things don't change for a while, nothing exciting comes along, it can get stale. I mean, the same thing happened pretty much with LAN event. Luke had a very inspired couple of days. I was like, I'm going to do this. It's going to be amazing. Kind of, that sounds awesome. And it just happened. It just, you know.
And by the way, it was amazing. I managed to fly out to it, and it was amazing. And I wish you were there as well. You should definitely. Have you worked out the times? Are you aware of if you can? Because there should be one next year, right? And it is kind of reliant on talks. I know Talk put a lot into it in the 2022.
Talk was amazing. It wouldn't have happened without Talk. I'll be honest, I've not heard any discussions about the next LAN yet. That's not to say the discussions aren't going on, because like I said, I have taken a back seat. So the admin channels and the planning channels, they're racking up messages, and I've just not looked at them yet. So it might be in the works, but as far as I'm aware, there's nothing set in stone. I mean, it's always at the back of our minds, you know, especially with the success of the first one and how much it pulled the community together. It's definitely going to be something we want to do again. But yeah, I don't think there's anything set in stone just yet.
I would put LAN up there as like one of the milestones of, I mean, the fact that Tyro's got so big, like it makes shockwaves outwards as well. Like Tyro LAN was one of the biggest EchoVR LANs ever. Like ever.
Yeah.
It was like better than like these Redshift, and was it Redshift the one that was like a few weeks after? Yeah. People went to Tyro LAN, went to the Redshift one, and they were like, yeah, Tyro was better. That was a better LAN. It was just like nicer people and stuff. So that's the kind of shockwaves you're making. But I'm saying I wanted to highlight the community side of it, the impact it has, because of the scale, like the combination of yourself and Luke, your personalities, and building that community. But where am I going with this? I've literally lost myself. It was about LAN.
Community.
I literally lost it, damn it. You know when you feel yourself
about the big changes. We're talking about LAN, we're talking about the Academy for a bit.
Impact.
LAN.
I don't know, it's gone. It was really insightful.
Fuck. It would have been such a good line, I know it as well. And I would have had a great answer for it, and that could have been a highlight of the show, and you've just ruined it.
It would have, it's gone. Highlight gone, ruined.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, that's the feedback I get from nearly every event is like, wow, this community is amazing, and it is. You know, it's from the start. It's the forefront of my mind is I wanted to foster a community which is accepting of all, welcoming of all, and not in some kind of woke way where, you know, we want everyone to, you know, we just wanted everyone to get along, and we wanted no toxicity, because that was an issue in the game as well. And we didn't even really we just led by example early on. 100%. The people that I chose to be the early community captains in the early days, I chose the people who really shone in the community as like, these are the kind of people we want. So we had like City Sue is like one of the ones that springs to mind. Natasha Law, just these really positive people who they just inspire other people to be positive. You know, we've had a few toxic people come and join. We haven't really had to ban many. They tend to make their own way out, because they come here, they're looking to get a reaction, or they're looking to cause some shit, and they don't get it, because that's not what we're about, you know. And I think that reflected with how popular the LAN event was, because everyone turned up and it was exactly the community vibe everyone was expecting. You know, so yeah, that's
setting an amazing example.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been very lucky. The people that have joined and the people that we have helping us out, the coaches and the community captains, like you said, you know, all we have to do is light the spark and give them an idea. And like with the academy, you know, it's just like when I mentioned it, it was like, oh, by the way, I might do this. I didn't really expect everyone to go, yes, absolutely. But on reflection, you know, give these guys half a chance to help out the newer players or the newer guys to the community, and they want to get involved. So yeah, that's so cool, so awesome to have that. Very grateful of that.
Nice. So I'm going to change the subject a little bit here. So YouTube, right? Keidaaski Gaming.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're still? Oh no, you are still doing it. 'Cause you're doing your clay hunt videos, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's more of a passion project, really. I'm not particularly fussed about getting tons of views or, I'm not clickbaiting stuff. For me, I'll make videos about stuff that really interests me. So this clay hunt thing you mentioned, that's a project I've recently got really involved with the guy that makes the game. He's called Alexi. He's awesome. For him, the game is, he approaches his game as I've approached my YouTube channel. Is that he does it because he enjoys doing it. The changes he makes, the updates he makes, is because it's how he wants to see the game, and it's how the community want to see the game. He's such an awesome guy. And I just started playing it because I shoot competitively in real life anyway, so I've always wanted to find a way to practice in VR. I thought it'd be a perfect platform. Found this game and it was amazing, so I've made a video about it, and from there I've actually gone on and built a new community for for Clay Hunt, which is really cool. Did a video review, and I got sent a really cool gun stock. It's like as a incentive to basically make a review video, but it's freaking cool, so I'm going to make that. The YouTube I think most of the videos I've made weren't really aimed at getting lots of views. It's more aimed to help people out or to just doing stuff I enjoy. I've got the one big video, which is the Echo Basics, which is something I initially made it was really going to be for the community, like for the newer players. Then I made it and I thought, actually, I'm quite happy with the production in this, so just put it as a public video and blew up. But yeah, it's just something I do for fun, really. Like
I remember that video. The voice quality is very high. You have like a decent setup at home.
I've got a £15 Amazon microphone.
Okay.
And I just fiddle with the voice and the editing software to make it sound high quality.
Okay. Well, you did a good job. You fooled me.
I had COVID when I recorded that, so I had a really sexy, like gruffy voice. Yeah, Hey, doing guys, it's Keidaaski, and welcome to How to Play Tyro. It's cool. I'm shit at making videos though. I think my videos at the end products are okay, but I am shit at the production side of things because I'm allowed to swear.
Yeah, of course. That's fine. Okay.
I'm shit at actually making the videos because I won't write a script or anything. I'll kind of just piece it together as I'm going, and if it feels right, I'll slot it in. I say, right, I'll record the audio lines, and I must re-record every sentence about 15 times. Because I'll trip over my words, I'll forget the next word, and it takes me probably 10 hours to make what should be a 1 hour video. I'm just not good at it. Which is why, I'm not releasing videos every week. It's every couple of months. Oh, this is interesting. I'm going to make a video about this. So that's it, really. I know you love your YouTube as well, don't you? I remember watching your videos before I took you on as a player. I think I watched your Road to Gold videos, and there was a few bits and bobs like that. I was in my back of my mind because I wanted to get Richie on the team as well. I thought, imagine if we got a team of like EU YouTubers, like he was too big a fish for me to catch.
I'm not really in that world anymore because there was one time, so I did the Road to Level 51. This is like 2 Christmases ago, and then off the back of that, I then get, I forget their names. There's these American content creators in Echo, and they had like a server that they pulled me into, and it was like 10 or 12 other content creators, and they were trying to do like collaborations and stuff. But I think because I wasn't posting, I just kind of fell out that clique.
And where was my invite?
Man. I'm not in that anymore.
I'm not consistent enough at uploading or something.
But so what I was going to segue onto is your voice. So I was talking about the microphone and stuff. You have a radio voice. I'm sure you're very self-aware of this, and maybe it's just because you're a talkative social guy. You have a good voice. You have a good sounding, clear voice. Is that something you've ever looked to use? Like the obvious one is casting. Have you ever considered casting, or?
I think my fear with casting is that from making the YouTube videos, I know that I have like voices for different things. Like how I sound on my YouTube videos, everyone will tell me that I sound really different in my videos to real life.
Right.
And if I'm not being conscious of my speech, I'll slur my words and I'll mumble and I'll go a bit higher pitched. And so I'm always quite conscious of how I'm talking. In a setting like this, I'm really nice and relaxed. I can I'm not tripping over my words very much. I'm just flowing. But I think in the pressure of a VRML game and trying to come up with clever lines, and I think I'd be tripping over my words left, right, and center. You'd be hearing someone stuttering for 3 rounds, basically. So I don't know, something I've thought about doing before. I actually started making a YouTube video before summer. I never got around to finishing it because it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to do. But we're doing like a coach versus coach challenge with somebody. And
was that with Birdie, right?
Yeah, it was a Birdie. Yeah, and the idea is we both took on a team of newbies, trained them up for a week, and then pit them against each other to see who was a better coach. And me and Birdie kind of didn't cast the game, but we recorded it as if we were casting, and actually had really good fun. But again, because I was recording it for a video, I knew I could go back and edit it, so I was relaxed.
Right. Yeah.
I trip over my words. I'm slurring. I swear. I mean, it's not like you don't, but.
And the worst thing for me, and to be honest, I've just had to get over it, is I have voice breaks. So I'm 28 years old. I'm closer to 30 than I am 20, and my voice breaks, and I'll be like in a cast. What was I doing? I think I was just playing a game. I was just in a match, but it was with all players that I wanted to impress. I wanted to make them think I was cool, and I just said something really nervously, and it just went. It just went, and there's no hiding it. Like you either address it or someone else addresses it. So I was like, oh, fuck's sake.
You're going mad with your cast now. What was it, like 100 casts you're doing? Before?
That's what I'm aiming for. That's the target. I just did the 19th or 20th one tonight.
Yeah.
But now I'm like you in terms of like passion projects and like getting a bit excited, because this is now the 6th podcast interview style thing. So I'm now smashing these out. Like I've already moved on.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near 100, and I'm already like, no, I want to do this now.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I just approach things in general. I think it's all about taking massive action and just feeling it out, see what sticks.
Yeah, I think the most productive people in the world are like that. Look at any someone comes to mind like Elon Musk, someone like that. He'll bounce from project to project, and he gets so much done because he doesn't just sit with one thing that he enjoys doing and get stale, does he? Oh, by the way, I'm going to go and fix interplanetary travel, or I'm going to go fix cars, and I'm going to build tunnels, and I'm going to build a chip for your brain, and what else can I do? And he just doesn't stop. And I'm not comparing myself to Elon Musk by a long shot, but I think it's that I think we all have that mentality, where we're doers.
Sure. No, you can say it's something you aspire to, right?
Yeah, that's fair. And it's not something I do intentionally. It's just I think of something and I do it. It was exactly the same thing. If anyone remembers when we did the Ukraine charity game.
Yeah.
That was so rushed and scuffed and off, because again that was a Wednesday night where I'd gone and played pool. I had a pool match. So you come back from the pub at about midnight, half cut, and I had a few more beers. About 3 a.m, I was on the EU Discord, I think, or something like that, and there were loads of people saying, "Oh, let's do something about Ukraine, or let's arrange a charity match," and everyone was saying stuff and coming up with ideas, and no one was doing anything. So, like 3 a.m, I set up a server for it, and
and then you had help straight away, right? I remember particularly Time Master was on it. All Time Master needed, he needed a Keidaaski to start it, and then Time Master was all over that, helping out. Shout out to him.
Yeah, he stayed up till 5 a.m. with me doing all the cameras and stuff. We had so much help. We had Hex come and helped us a lot. I just got to think back now. Sputnik Cobra was really cool.
I forgot. He got
involved. He was good. And Lockie falling asleep drunk on stage. a legendary moment in Echo history already. And we had so much help come out, and we had a big mixture of people. We had like we had the people like me and you who were going, "Oh, this is a good idea, let's do it," and then panic and scuff to try and put this big thing together in the space of 3 days. Like, we got 3 days, let's do it. And it was just, I don't know why I set the time. I was like, it was Wednesday, Thursday morning. I said, we're doing this on Saturday. I could have easily gone, let's plan this for a couple of weeks' time, but then I might have lost interest, or the hype was there and then. Let's get
the energy's there.
Yeah.
This is exactly the same reason I said 100 casts, because I know it's a ridiculous goal. Who's gonna to actually hit that? I need to do something like 80. I need to do 80 more casts in 15 days. Like that, it's impossible. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna try.
Every NA cast, every obscure OCE cast,
which I've done. I've got up on a Sunday morning, like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and I ended up casting like one of the top OCE matches just by accident. It was like my third ever cast. Like that wouldn't have happened.
Public matches just to make the numbers up, aren't you?
I will end up doing that. I was trying to like make this part of it as well, but then I thought, no, that's kind of cheating. It's a completely different format.
Yeah, man. Well, if you get back into it, I'm happy to co-cast with you. I just don't want to lead.
Oh, mate.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
I was casting for the Ukraine event. You were casting on it, weren't you? You were on it for hours.
I was present.
You weren't.
No, I tried a little bit, but to be honest, I intentionally made it a very relaxed event because I didn't want it to be sweaty, and like in any other Echo stream, because I originally planned to have one 24-hour match, and realized I don't think it was actually possible in the game to have a match run that long, so it became a 24-hour marathon. And so you had the two groups of people who wanted to get involved. You had the people like me and you who were like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it, let's make it happen. And you had the sensible people going, I don't think this is possible. Like, we don't want to set ourselves up to fail. Sputnik was one of these guys, right? He was excellent because he was the one going, rein it in, guys, think about this. Yeah. The last thing you want is to go for 24 hours and have the last 4 hours being completely dead and feel like a failure, and it just reflects bad on everyone that's involved. So, okay, so we made it 12 hours. And yeah, so I think we had like 4 or 5 casters on at a time. So there was no rules for the games. We said, go in there, you've got an hour, set the rules up however you want. You want to do one 1 hour game, go for it. You want to have 0 catapult countdown time, go for it. You want a curve disc, yeah, go for it. Why not? We wanted it to be stupid, fun, and silly because we thought that's how you're going to get people watching. That's how you're going to get donations, which is at the end of the day, that's all it was. And the casters took a very similar approach where we ended up just talking shit basically during the games. We kind of, oh, that was a good shot. Oh, anyway, what were we talking about? And we were drinking and laughing, and some of the comments we got, it was like, who the hell are these casters? What the hell are they doing? But we had such good fun doing it. Between everyone having to take little breaks for a nap or something, I think in total we probably had about 10 different people over the 12 hours. Yeah, it's very fun. It's the kind of project I'll always remember because it was just so slapped together, but the outcome was awesome. I think it was like £2,000 or something like that we raised.
Oh wow!
For something so short notice, which was awesome. So yeah, but again, that's my brain. It could have gone very wrong.
Yeah, but you did it. If you hadn't been overly ambitious, it wouldn't have happened. Oh no, that's too risky. 12 hours? No, you can't even do that. But the fact that you aimed for 24, you ended up with 12, raising $2,000. Like what?
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth it. Like you aim high, you aim for 10, and then end up at like 5, 6. You're still hitting a higher number. And you mentioned something about you can't just do a 24-hour game. Were there any other like technical limitations you found with the game? Because no one who wants to do like a 3, 4 hour, 5 hour thing. Like you're pushing the game. You're really stretching the game. Like even having a server open for that long.
I think we changed servers a few times.
What kind of issues came up? This is good, like stress testing.
Yeah. I don't know, because whenever anything went wrong, we just ran to Time Master and asked them to fix it. There was someone else that's really bugging me because there was 2 people helping with the cameras and the servers and all. And
was it another EU person?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I really can't remember who it was, but they were both excellent.
Lucky Retip?
No.
Someone like that.
No, it wasn't a caster. I can't remember now. I'll have to find out and let you know, because they were so helpful, and I feel really guilty now for not remembering their name. But yeah, the issues we would have with like, we haven't got a Spark link, and no one in the game had Spark, so we were like sending someone in. We had a few like 5 minutes of dead air that we just filled with chatting shit with amongst the casters, and that was the good side of having so many people on casting, and the focus of the conversation wasn't really the games anyway. So when you did have a dead minute or 2, we just filled it with effectively like a little mini podcast between the 5 of us. So there's always something going on. But as for like logistical issues about the game, I think it was more human error that made things go wrong. I don't think it was actually anything to do with the server.
Which is going to happen at 4 a.m., right?
Yeah, yeah.
When you're all pissed as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, no, that was cool. That was good fun.
Nice. So what other like passion projects do you have going on at the moment, or you have had?
So many.
I feel like you have, haven't you? You've been doing other stuff.
Yeah,
Obviously,
so
Tyro's the big one. Tyro
Tyro's
EU.
the big one. Tyro EU.
Yeah, do you want to go into that? You eventually made a team. You had like a season 3 you started? Yeah, end of season 3.
Yeah.
You had your roster.
Yeah, that was a good passion project. I think, yeah, so we played season 3, season 4, season 5. We had a lot of roster changes though throughout those seasons, and it started off as such a passion project where it was just some buddies that wanted to play together. And we don't care if we won or lost, just wanted to have some fun. I think as most teams of new players start out. Yeah. And we quickly started, like, I wouldn't say we started climbing a ladder because we never really got very far, but we started winning games. And then half of the team were getting quite, why not push and get competitive? And the other half were like, no, keep it fun, keep it lighthearted. So we started cycling through players where we had this real split on the team of who, like, what we wanted to get from the team. So I think end of season 4, I said, right, we're going to get sweaty, we're going to get competitive. If you want to stay around, you have to stay around for the right reasons because you want to win. And if you'd rather leave, then no hard feelings. I'm not kicking you out of the team, but I want everyone to make the best decision for them. So we had a big split, and that's where we brought in you, Savage, and Wolfo, I think might have been.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or was it someone before Wolfo, maybe?
It was a Yo-Yo before Wolfo.
Yo-Yo,
yeah,
was already in.
Yeah, I think he joined just at the end of 4, I think. So yeah, and I mean, it's something. It will always frustrate me that we never got as high up as we deserved to. We always seem to start off really strong and then have just a couple of bad results that just messes up a season. So like our season, end of season 5, we were definitely at least a platinum team, and we were just we'd keep getting towards platinum and then have to play a diamond team, or someone really good, and they'd just shoot us back down the ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back at it now, it was a good season compared to this season, because at the moment we're just playing. We're playing either master tier teams or silver teams. There's not much in between. But yeah, no, Tyro was really good fun. I really enjoyed running it. But again, I think I got a bit of fatigue from the management side of it, and kind of being a captain, organizing games for all these kids that it's not their fault. They just haven't got the organizational skills or the kind of professionalism. And I know it's people will say it's a video game league. Like don't why do you want it to be so professional and serious? Like, well. No, it's a serious time commitment. It's something I really enjoy doing, and I'm a competitive guy. I was playing a lot of football and getting back into my boxing before lockdown, and lockdown happened. I was like, shit, I haven't got a competitive outlet, and that's when I got into VR and Echo. It was literally a replacement for my other competitive kind of pursuits. So for me, it was serious. I really wanted to do well, and it was the fatigue of having to deal with the captains that didn't really care, and the stresses that come with just running a team and trying to get the best out of players and coaching people, and then you'd have the intra-team arguments about strategies, and it got a bit too much for me. So so that team, we ended up folding the team end of last season, didn't we? And since then I've been playing with Jackknife on Rusty Nuts.
Just for context as well. Yeah, so I joined Tyro EU. Oh, I guess you already mentioned it, but I was on Tyro EU. We were playing for a while, pretty much all of season 5, right?
Yeah. All of season 5.
So you left it. I think you were gonna take a break, and then you couldn't, and then you came back to competitive play. But you decided not to be captain and to work on just being a player, right? Let someone else have all the stress of being captain.
Yeah, I just wanted to fall back in love with the game. It did get to a point where when the results weren't going your way and there was tension on the teams and having issues with other captains, it became more of a chore than a hobby. So yeah, leaving and wanting just be a player. I just want to go and play. I just want to have fun, fall back in love with the game again. I'd say so far.
And how's that experience? Yeah, how was that? Like start of season 6. Apart from, we'll talk about that as well. Like it's not the best season there's ever been.
Apart from the VRML stuff, it's been great playing with this team. I hopped between a couple of teams before settling with Jackknife. there was going to be a little project with the fireballs that nearly happened, where they were effectively going to split into two, and I was going to join the second team with the older guys. So I've been like me and Pyro, Tomic, Freshie, and they were such lovely guys, and I really, really enjoyed playing with them. But they couldn't commit time to it like I wanted to. They were going to play maybe the 2 games a week, and that was it. No training, no scrims, and availability was dreadful. So that was just going to get stressful, and I could see it falling on me to organise stuff. So
yeah,
hit the nail on that quite quickly. Anyway, Jack and I approached me and said, "Oh, I really wanted to join the team," and he was the way he approached me was excellent because he knew to stroke my ego a bit. he came to me and he said, "Oh, Kai, I love the way you lead from the front. I really want that. I think if you're at the front stack and I'm at the back stack, it'll be excellent. We should do
that
this."
Irish charm.
I was like, "Oh, you know what, Jack? Let me pull my knickers down now, love. Let's do it." But yeah, no, he's got a real clear vision for what he wants from the team, and it aligns with what I wanted, because I hate the stack and chase, the clear and chase meta. You know that from playing with me.
Yeah.
But everyone doesn't. I want control possession. I want to win with like a good 70% disc possession, short passing, frustrating the other team by not letting them get on the disc.
By the way, just side note. Obviously, come back to this, but like earlier today, I was casting Gravity against Antidote. Yeah. And Gravity played. Obviously, they won, but they played the most like really good passing plays, like really good, like borderline overpassing. They were passing a lot, but like really clean, finding the open man, and their cuts in bubble were just on point. I'll send you a link for it. It was really good.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'll share that with Jack and the team as well, because that's what we need to build. So yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying so Jack pulled your knickers down, got you on the team.
Yeah, and you know what? I've got a really good relationship with Jack. And I think anyone that would kind of listen in on one of our conversations out of context would think we don't get on, which is weird, because we're both very blunt people, and if I think something's not right, I'll say it, and he does the same. But it's said with such trust that we know we're going to take it as constructive. So we disagree on things, but for the 90% of the decisions he makes, I 100% agree with him, and he's got a really nice tactical mind that I've never experienced in Echo, because I think always being a captain and playing since being a newbie, I've had to learn everything myself when it comes to managing a team, tactics, strategies. Besides the odd bit of coaching I got here and there, I just kind of had to make it up on the spot and see what worked and what didn't. So playing under another captain now who he's got, I think, probably about 10 defensive rollouts, and God knows how many offensive rollouts, and all these different trick plays and things we want to do in the middle. And I just love playing with someone with that kind of mind, and it helps me grow. But the challenge is getting a team of players together who all subscribe to that method of play. And the amount of the amount of trialists we get in who want to stack and chase or shoot threes from halfway all the time and make mistakes, and they're so set in that. It's mixed scrim meta, isn't it? Mixed scrim meta and pub meta.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
So I'm really, really eager to kind of get away from that, and Jack is as well. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that little project, and hopefully next season runs a bit smoother, so we can have a better pop at it.
Nice.
That's the plan.
Nice. So we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but like, what's your views on season 6 VRML? What do you hope to see, like, in terms of change? VREL has like popped up as well. That's a competitor league that a lot of the EU master teams have moved over to. What's your opinion on that kind of stuff?
We've signed up for VREL as well. I like the fact that it's one game. I think it's one game a week, isn't it?
I believe it's one game. You probably know more than me, but one game, and then you have the option to challenge 2 other teams every week.
Okay, cool. I like that.
The way I understand it.
Yeah. Was it one of your? I think it was one of your videos or one of your streams, and you were talking about a better way to organising it, where you'd have set days. Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Nice. I feel like no one would watch that.
No, I watched that.
Talking.
No, 100%. No, I'm in full
set
agreement.
time.
Every sport in the UK, football, Sunday league, Saturday league, Wednesday league, whatever.
Yeah.
And that structure works because if I know Wednesday night is Echo night, I'm keeping Wednesday night free, and the whole 100%. Team will do the same. And if you can't commit to Wednesdays, you don't join a team. Or maybe you join a Sunday team.
Why should Echo organization be so like open? Like it makes, because you join your team. Are you free on Tuesday? You're not free on Tuesday. You can't join the team, even if we want you. You literally just can't.
Such a ball ache.
Play with us.
Such a ball ache, especially because you know how organized I was. I wanted to, I wanted to know everyone's availability on the weekend before the week, and I wanted to know what nights we could do. And then I'd message the captain at 5:30 on the Monday when the things came out saying, "Here's our availability, let us know." And I'd get so frustrated if I hadn't heard back from them by Tuesday or Wednesday with a date. And obviously I'm holding people to too high standard, but this season I'm probably going to go against the status quo. And I don't think it's VRML's fault. I think a lot of people are quick to blame them. And I think something has obviously gone wrong within VRML, the way the ranking systems worked out. But I think we had, with the master tier disappearing, that was originally VRML mistake.
So should we just give a bit of context in case someone's watching this and they're like not in a community environment, community. What am I saying?
Not in a competitive community.
Not in a competitive community, yeah. Wow, messed up. So VRML, it's like 2 seasons a year. It's free to play, free to sign up, seasons of competitive play. And this is the 6th season. And basically there's a separate master league tier, right? There's 10 teams, or it got dropped down to 8. But anyway, there's like an elite level that you have to like compete to get into, to play in that league, like Premier League football, right? But because they didn't get enough signups, they scrapped it this year. And that kind of, like, I'm sure a lot led up to that, and then a lot has led from that. But that seems to be like the pivotal point.
Yeah, I mean, people were really quick to put the blame on VRML, and I'm a big supporter of it. I mean, they are a group of volunteers at the end of the day. They don't make any money through doing this, and if they do, it's not enough to make it worth the stress. And the issue, there was no master tier because there wasn't enough signups for the qualifiers, and everyone tried to blame VRML for not. They might have got a date wrong here. I don't know. We finished season 5 in 25th and 23rd before we started the new team, whether it was. We were signed up for it. We were ready to go. We were going, we probably won't get in, but fuck it, why not? We might get that top 16. And then, if anything, it's a... So, if you're proactive and you wanted this Master League, you wanted to get into Master, you wanted the VRML to be a success, you could have been proactive. And I think it was the community being a bit slack, a bit lazy. Maybe the seasons were too close together, so there wasn't that hype built up. Maybe it was a bit fatigued from the last. I don't know what went wrong. But with all the big teams dropping out and the master tier disappearing, it's been horrible season to play in, because we will jump between the top 10 and 40th, and then top 15 and 30th, and we're not playing teams at our level. I don't think we've maybe played 1 or 2 teams at our level. Everyone else is either destroying us or we're destroying them, and there's not. I think that just the jumps are too extreme. If you get beaten by a huge team and it's expected to beat you, I don't think you should get knocked down 10 spots. But again, that's VRML, the only league until VREL gets up and running. They're the only team really offering a realistic option, aren't they? So be grateful that they are there, else we'd just be stuck in pubs.
So the situation we're in at the moment, where we're having that issue where you're either getting absolutely destroyed or you're destroying other teams. Do you think that's down to just the size of the because season 5, was it like 70 at its peak, 70, 80 teams competing in EU? Yeah. And then that's now shrunk down to about 40, right?
Yeah.
40, 50, give or take.
And I can't wrap my head around why at all, why it's shrunk in EU. I know it's getting huge in America, and I think a lot of the stuff with Napa and stuff has probably helped that out in America, a bit more hype.
Yeah, agreed. Why is NA scene continue to grow? And it's like times 10 right now, right? You keep
ridiculous
down to that.
It's genuinely awesome, and I'd love to play in the NA kind of scene.
So why has EU? We know there's a bit of a mess with the top of the ladder, but why is the bottom ladder not filling up? Why are we missing all these bronze teams?
I honestly don't know. I can't answer that. It's
maybe something, I don't think there is an answer. Or I mean, no, there must be. There must be like factors affecting it, but I haven't worked it out either.
I know the upper level of EU, not upper level, gold plus, has always had an issue with quite a lot of toxicity. As is, I think throughout EU, there's been a lot of toxicity, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't think that's what it's not what I was alluding to. That's definitely something, like it's a topic, toxicity, and like it's competitive sports. It happens.
Whether that's turning people away from it or not, or maybe because the scene's not big enough. That's the trouble. Like it needs to get big enough to snowball, doesn't it? I think that's what's happening in America. Yeah. If you join as a new team in VRML right now, you probably play against the same 2 or 3 teams on loop for the whole season, and you won't get anywhere. Unless you suddenly get better, then you climb out of low bronze. And there's not many teams that are willing to do that. Woohoo, a good example of a really good mature team who did do that. They ground, season 4 they started, and I think they were towards the bottom, consistently playing the same bottom few teams. Well, you have teams join, they lose a few games, get bored, they leave. So they were stuck at that horrible cycle. And I think they're getting out of bronze into silver, looking at low kind of gold area now. I don't think there are many teams that have that kind of patience, and they get
True.
People want instant reward, don't they? They want to win quickly. And I think if you're in an American division where there's a few hundred teams, you can have a really good couple of weeks at the bottom of the ladder and jump 20, 30 places, and you're still at the bottom of the ladder, but you're seeing progress. You're seeing, I think it's the size of it. Because the whole if you lose against a really top team in the EU and you drop 10 places, that's a huge skill gap. In America, that's you're probably not really playing a different level of teams at 10 spots dropped, are you? So whether or not it's just the way the algorithms work and they're based it off the American population instead of the EU population, I don't know.
Valid.
I think
the question I'm pondering on is why is there a lack of signups? Why haven't we got the next, not generation, but the next wave of player base signing up?
Yeah.
Or is it that the game is now hit a point where it is not where it was always on the up? Maybe it's just mellowing out, the player base. The amount of people leaving the game and joining the game is kind of leveling out.
I think if it was going to explode, it would have happened season 5, maybe season 6. I expected a big spike in numbers with how many quests were sold around Christmas time and stuff like that. A huge influx of new players, and the timing for season 5 meant if you played the game and you hung around for a few months, timing's pretty good to join the VRML as a new team. And you had a couple of new teams join, but I honestly expected to see 20 or 30 more teams than season 4, and I think we saw less, didn't we, in the end? So I don't think it's going to happen now, which is a shame. I think the game's got a lot of potential, but I don't think it's going to explode onto the scene. I think if it was going to, it would have by now. I think America has, and they're very lucky to have that. But it happens, doesn't it? It's different cultures, different tastes. American football hasn't picked up anywhere in the world except America, and it's huge over there. And
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Things can pick up in one region and not another, and it can still live on for ages.
Yeah, and for some reason, Echo just resonates with the American crowd, and all power to them. But it's a shame because we love it, but it's just for whatever reason hasn't exploded the way we expected it to.
Do you see any other game? Because I was looking at the stats of the player bases in games and Gorilla Tag. So I don't know so much about the competitive scene, but in terms of player base, it's massive, massive player base compared to Echo as well, bigger than Echo.
I'd compare that. I'd call, I don't know, because I've played Gorilla Tag. It's a lot of fun. It's so simple. It's the Flappy Bird of Quest 2. You know what I mean? You know how many downloads that game got? It's such a simple premise, and it's not a great quality game. It's very simple. It's blocky, horrible graphics, but bloody hell, it's fun to play. And
it smashed locomotion, and I think that's what this game did. 2017 when it came out, 2016.
Yeah.
It's locomotion. It solved a big problem in VR, which is locomotion, and Gorilla Tag does that amazingly. Yeah, very creative.
There are a lot of games that have really kind of awesome ways that they've used the headset and the hardware to get cool locomotion. I think Knock, for example. I love the locomotion in Knock. It's you're using ski poles to skate around, and then you're using your bow and arrow to shoot ball and stuff. That's a really cool system, and that's kind of died a bit of a death.
Oh really? Because I never actually, I literally downloaded it, got into the title page, and I didn't get any further for whatever reason. But I've heard good things. You're not the first, you're probably the third or fourth person in an interview to mention Knock. Because these are the kind of subjects I'd like to ask about. What do you think about where VR esports is going to look like. But yeah, you think you're not as optimistic about NOC being the VR sport?
I love it, but end of the day, it's you have to pay to buy it. You have to buy it, and I think that's when you have so many options like this and Gorilla Tag, where you're playing a free game, it's costing you nothing, and your player base is going to be so much bigger. You're more likely to meet cool players. You know, you're more likely to fall into communities like Tyro and make you stick around. I think the fact you have to pay for it is just at the moment well, that's a bad argument, because you got things like Onward and stuff like that, which have
my mind straight away went to Rocket League. Rocket League, you had to pay to play for a long time.
I don't know then.
It filters out a demographic, 100%. It filters out people. If you have to pay even like $5 or something in the store, it does filter out a large demographic.
I mean, you'll know this way better than I will with your job, but I don't think we've scratched the surface yet with VR in gaming. I think what we're seeing right now, these games, like as awesome as they are, this is like this is the era we are now, isn't it? You know, and in 10 years we'll look back at games like Echo and stuff, unless it keeps up and keeps innovating. We'll probably look back at games like this and go, wow, that was look at the graphics, look at the gameplay. Now they'll have these amazing games. And I think it's another issue, Echo. Maybe it hasn't innovated enough. I know they brought in the Echo Pass and stuff like that, which will appeal to a certain player base, but definitely not a competitive player base. I don't think they really care about it. Everyone buys it, of course, but yeah, they haven't really made enough change. Like, people are always asking for. If you look at the suggestions page on Echo,
I haven't. No, I actually should do this.
Hundreds of good suggestions, and I think because the focus being on Echo Pass, it's kind of gone a bit stale for a lot of people.
So it's a bit of a long shot, but say a dev happens to watch this, what would you put at the top? What suggestions need some attention? Maybe fixes, or like some feature that you want, you really wish it's easy to implement, and they really should just implement it. Does anything jump to mind?
I would have said, and I know there's good reasons why they haven't done it, but like a competitive thing built in, whether it's just you get an MMR based on, I know they kind of have that hidden, but maybe having something to represent your, like you get like a ranking, like you have gold, silver,
you
bronze,
mean
diamond,
so
something like that.
Where level stops at 50, you want some other way of knowing,
like a skill,
someone's been grinding this.
Something that represents your skill, something like that. Right. You don't necessarily have to have, because they obviously have MMR built into the game, but maybe something.
Well, they have win rate as well. I don't know if you've ever been to a pub, but you get there and then there's some 13-year-old like getting their tablet out, looking up your stats and calling it out. Oh,
that's all they've got to show for their hours of work. You know, if you had a system where if you get to the top 3% of players, you get a diamond. You know, you're a diamond player.
It's like a banner or something like that.
Yeah,
like your banner now goes platinum.
Something that's linked to your MMR, like because you're not having to. Because the argument's always been, you don't have the player base to have a built-in competitive system. Fair enough, understandable. But I think if they were going to do that, they probably missed a train on that a little bit. Maybe not in America. Again, it's a weird one. There's lots of little changes, just like letting you choose a server, like choosing between EU and NA, little things like that. Quality of life, AI, having 4v4. I mean, this game hasn't been 3v3 for since I played it, at least 2 years.
So I asked this to Mr. Bullied, and he gave two really good ones. One of them you've already said about being able to pick your server. He said, all I want, in his Yorkshire accent, all I want is to just pick EU server or just any server. He wants like a separate button. So I go in there, I queue up, I'll wait longer, I don't mind. But put me in a server where I don't have high ping. It's nothing to do with the demographic and playing with different regions. No, it's about server. I want to be on like an EU server. That's my 100%. Preference. The other thing he said is about colors. So come into a private match, you're playing your VRML match, you're team green, like that's your team name, and you always want to play in green. Why can't you? You should be able to press a button down there and it's blue versus green or orange versus green.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, all the changes they've made with the chassis and the colors and stuff, that's fine for public matches, and I guess that's where they see most of the game happening, I guess. But for the players that are going to stick around and put the hours in and spend the money on Echo points, it's going to be the competitive guys that are in it for hours a day, isn't it? So yeah, they need more. I always used to complain about the AI being 3v3 because there's like a lower team, like an up-and-coming bronze team or silver team. Training against AI can be really helpful, especially if you can't organize scrims yet, or there's not much of a team-based play scrims with. I would have loved to have done that season 3 or season 4, and I probably would have.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why it's only 3. Do you think it's like built on old code when the game used to be 3v3?
I think it's just. I think they see it as a redundant thing.
Feature.
AI matches, yeah. Whereas
I think it's a very small player base that are actually in AI matches at any moment.
Yeah, but I think if it was a 4v4, or maybe if it was an option in private, like you can give other teams an AI player or something like that.
Yeah, stick some AIs. Yeah, 100%.
And especially for the newer players, the bronze, silver, lower gold players, that's a really helpful training tool. Then, it doesn't play like a real team, understandable, but you can practice your rollouts, you can practice your positioning, your passing plays, team shape. That's the kind of stuff we were begging for in season 3, season 4. Some kind of, because the scrims were few and far apart, and you had to rely on another team being available at 8 o'clock. Whereas if we weren't available, they weren't available, fine, we'll have to go and do pubs. Then you get split up. But yeah, I don't know. If you look through,
going into a pub. Yeah, go on.
If you look at on the Discord on Echo, and look at the suggestions page, there's hundreds of good suggestions. But yeah, I don't know. It's a shame because it's such a fun game, but they need to keep it fresh. And I don't think the skins and the Echo Pass is how they're going to do that.
What do you think of the fanfare, the music when you score?
That I like. That's actually something I did suggest a long time ago on their Echo. Yeah. I'll take back everything I said, Rad. You're innovating. I like it. This is
it's actually that is. I was really surprised.
Change.
I didn't believe it when someone told me that. I actually had to hear the song. I had to hear the Spanish guitar before I actually believed it. I was like, no way, because they are really pleasing, like the player base by doing that. That is a great feature to put in. I'm so glad they actually put the time for that.
I didn't really notice it much until tonight, because someone scored on us, and it was like really early in the scrim, and there's some really light-hearted Hawaiian kind of samurai music. And it felt like I was getting trolled. It's
a troll, 100%. It's a troll. I don't know if they intended to make it a troll, but it's definitely a troll. If someone just absolutely dunks on you, and then you get really like chilled out music.
Oh, thanks, game. Yeah, that makes me feel better. I want to hear guitar riffs and drums. Like, they've just scored a worldie, not. They just popped it past you, really easy. You're a terrible goal. No, but yeah, I mean, let's but yeah, I think keep innovating things like that. I mean, they're not big changes, are they? It's just little quality of life things here and there.
So what about like more long term? Like what do you want and what do you see happening? What do you predict in that kind of area? Do you see, for example, some people expect some kind of EchoVR 2 eventually, where they just build it all again on better game engines, maybe add different kind of features. Do you hope for that, or do you see like a different game coming in and becoming the main VR esport? Like we're talking about knock and things like that, but maybe something of that nature.
Yeah. The area, it needs another game. Either similar or with a similar pull so that they can compete and push each other forward to innovate. I think because Echo is the big competitive VR game, isn't it? Look at VRML or other leagues. Echo is probably the most played one by a mile.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like a metric on hours played in games. I'm sure Echo would be right at the top. Because
I'm really interested in this as well because we're biased, right? Or maybe less so you because you're into other games. But Echo is when I think VR, I think Echo. Like not even just esports, just VR in general. So like I'd love to get more people in this kind of format and talk about from other communities. Like what's going on with Onward? Maybe there's whole leagues that we just don't know about.
Well, I've played a little bit of Onward Online. Gorilla Tag might be the exception, but things like Knock, you'll be queuing for minutes to find a 1v1.
Oh, that's a shame.
I
really thought that'd pick up.
I was hoping it would, but I think it's kind of died down a bit.
Oh, Population 1 as well.
Population, I like Pop 1. I haven't played that for a while, but I love it. But again, it's not a sport thing, is it? That's a whole different genre of game, and you can't really compare them. I think we just need another big sport game, a big multiplayer sport game, team-based. Any, I don't care if it's an American football thing, a rugby thing, I don't know, new sport like Echo was, because I think that's the exciting thing with Echo. This is a game that can't exist outside of VR. And if you can get something similar to this, or similar where it's a completely novel idea that will compete with Echo for player base, and then I think that will hopefully give the developers a push to keep
Well, I think the
pushing
closest thing is Flappy Bird VR, Gorilla Tag.
Gorilla Tag, yeah. It's like got much of a competitive scene, and how does that work?
I know there is a competitive scene. I don't know if it's as big as Echo, just because of the maturity of it. But do you remember Starkey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like best in Europe at one point.
Shit.
He hit #1, and then he was like top 10 for ages. He probably still is, who knows? But he said he grinded it out. Like he was playing like 12 hours a day.
That's mad. I mean, it's a fun game, but
well, that's what it takes. Like these players that we see dunking on us and like scoring threes from like full court.
Yeah.
The reason they do that is because they spend 2 hours a day not even playing scrims, just in here, maybe with some music on or something, and just shooting. And they won't admit it because they want to look like they're complete naturals. But that's how you do it. You've really got to put the hours in. Like basketball, you just got to be on the court, just taking those
100%.
Whatever you call them.
Yeah. Where do you see it going? I want to ask you because obviously you work in VR. So where do you see VR esports?
I see esports where it is right now. I see it staying for a good 5 years, in my honest opinion, because Meta, who is the giant that's like pushing resource in this area and has done for the past since Facebook bought Oculus in 2012. They bought them out, but then all the recent pushes have been going on for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
It's all heading towards, so whatever Meta wants to do really influences the environment. So when they were pushing gaming, when it was more true to like the Oculus brand, because Oculus is very gaming. When you think Oculus, you think games.
Yeah.
When you think Meta, and it's more what they're pushing now, you think productivity.
Yeah.
And it's going to suck for us. For VR, it's going to be amazing because VR is just going to be pushed. Because where Meta are just completely leading away, taking up like 95% of the market, we're now going to get like Pico 4.
Yeah.
Headsets like that. They're going to pop up. Apple's going to join the party at some point. All these other like Microsoft or whoever. TikTok acquired. I only heard this because the last person I interviewed told
Pico,
me
isn't
TikTok. Yeah, acquired Pico.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Awesome.
That's now someone that's got like big resource and
Have
funding.
you seen the videos from the Pico 4? That thing looks cool.
No, I'm gonna look this up tonight actually after this.
The full color pass through AR demo. That looks freaking cool. They showed it. They had the headset here and they had the camera here, and it showed you like this is actually what it looks like through the lens, and it looks like they're just looking through glass. Honestly, it's just a perfect representation of your surroundings in full color, and with things superimposed. I was like, that is freaking cool. I mean, you would have seen it, I'm sure, with Cambria and stuff like that. But this is that's what Quest needed. They needed a Pico 4 to come along and say, how cool is this? And they go, oh shit, okay.
Well, I potentially see where Meta are focusing on productivity. I think they're going to dominate productivity space. They're going to like Workrooms, which is, it's all public apps. Workrooms is going to be massive. It's all still beta at the moment, but I believe it is public knowledge that Workrooms are going to work with Zoom. They're going to have Zoom integration. And I think when that hits, like they're going to clean up. Everyone's going to be like, oh, what? I can join. So my family like Zoom call that we do. My grandma who lives in fucking America.
Can join as an avatar. That's
I can what?
Cool.
I can join in VR. Hi, grandma.
Yeah.
What's that? What do you? I think that's fucking amazing. Like,
I'm all for it.
That's going to be phenomenal. So, but I think when that happens, that's when your Pico 4 and other competitors come along. They start to start eating in the gaming market. And I think this is me like loosely predicting. I see like a game exclusive to a Pico 4 or something else, or maybe just open platform. You can play on Steam or whatever, and that is the VR sport. Like I say VR sport, not VR esport. Like it's the game that comes up, and you're like, oh yeah, you played some VR. Oh, have you played X? Yeah,
that's cool. And I think
I see that happening.
I like the push towards productivity because ultimately you're expanding the market. I mean, obviously gamers are a huge demographic, but not as big as everyone who works. You know, I see my future career working in VR. I'm already kind of half planning it anyway. Getting a business model together for something really cool and exciting I'm working on at the moment.
Is that something you want to talk about, or are you just
yeah, sure.
Yeah, go for it, man. This is one of the things I wanted to ask about, because you have alluded to this with me before.
Cool.
That you are. This is where you want to move your career into.
Yeah. So as I've said, physiotherapy student at the moment, and I work mainly. Most of my jobs in the past in therapy have been kind of like neuro rehab. So you're looking at people with strokes, brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, and the way you help to the healing process of that is repetitions, basically. Say you have a stroke and you lose the use of your right arm. The muscle strength is still there. What's not there is that connection from the motor cortex to the muscle. Is either the actual brain tissue itself, the nervous tissue carrying that message. There's a weakening or a disconnect in that. So you don't train it like you train a muscle where you get heavier and heavier weights and you get working it. You just repeat the movement. You rebuild that muscle memory. You rebuild that motor control. And to do that is thousands of repetitions, right? So you quite commonly in therapy, you would see someone with a stroke and say they're struggling to eat and drink. And the therapist will give them an exercise, which is basically mimicking this eating, drinking motion. And they say, go and do this hundreds of times a day. Eventually it will come back. How bloody boring is that? You know, looking at the studies for it, for a home exercise plan, I think compliance is maybe 20%. Like 20% of the exercises you prescribe actually get done. And in neuro rehab, like that repetition is the key to improving something. So I've always had this idea of basically integrating VR into therapy, and this isn't my idea. There's some other companies out there doing it now, like I think they're called Neuro Rehab VR, actually, big American company, and they're doing some awesome things in this space. It's not really picked up in the UK yet, but something I'm hoping to change from very shortly. I've got a business partner, a lady called Theodora, who's a very experienced physiotherapist who I actually got into physiotherapy. I've got her into VR. And we play Echo every now and then together, which is good fun. We're called XR Health Labs.
It'll be in the description. It'll be linked.
We haven't got a website yet. That's the thing. We're sorting out the limited status and getting a website built, and we're going to have an app. We want to bring physiotherapy into the modern era because it's
Who are you
quite
going to sell to?
old-fashioned.
Are you going to sell like into the NHS, that kind of thing, or is it more?
No,
like
we're going to be our own company, our own private clinic. Luckily, physiotherapy, there's quite a lot of scope for private clinics because the NHS, with the waiting list, especially since COVID and stuff, you know, if you have an operation, sure, you'll see a physio that day, and then you might see them every 6 weeks. If you've got a bit of a niggle or something that's not quite right, or you need some ongoing rehab, chances are you're probably not going to get it. And if you do, it'll be like a 3-month waiting list. See them every few weeks. Whereas, of course, if you go private, you have to pay, but you can see the same person every day if you wanted to, or every 3 times a week. And the evidence is there. Like, you know, the more often you see your physio, the quicker your progress is. So what we're gonna hopefully start off like using the headsets and using other like AR technology, and that will obviously won't be the whole thing, but that's going to be like that's our unique selling point. We're going to offer like obviously traditional therapy alongside it and stuff. But yeah, we see it working really well with neuro patients, pediatrics as well, working with children. Because we've seen this augmented reality sports wall that we want. It's a few £1,000s, it's a bit pricey, but you can basically play interactive games against a wall using a normal ball, and like they have the camera tracking you and things like that, and that'll be really helpful for like sports teams and schools for like general fitness. Because I mean, VR fitness is a big growing market.
Yeah, massive.
So kind of it's like pushing into that a little bit as well, but with the rehab focus, but like VR therapy. Maybe even offering virtual clinics, like with someone in America. If they can't see a physio over there, it's never going to be the same as being able to get hands on and see their movement. But as body tracking and stuff improves, you'd be able to get a fair representation of their range of movement, their balance, give them some advice, and you can do. I mean, in the NHS at the moment, I think it's like 70% of the appointments are over the phone or over a video call. Anyway, since COVID, so VR is going to be much better than.
Yeah, with hand tracking as well. You can literally see them. Oh, I was literally going to get my hand out like it was tracks. No, you can't. But you would see, the movements, how much they're moving their fingers. It's all tracked. It's all video.
Yeah. I mean, there are apps that are coming out now already. Like there's one called Gonio VR, and that's made for people with shoulder injuries. And there's basically a bunch of these clever games, but like the old games you'd have where there's like a little metal wire and you have to move the hoop over it or it beeps.
Yep.
Imagine that in a kind of a massive 360 huge thing. And it's built for people with shoulder injuries or kind of like neurological conditions that affects their upper limb mobility. And it has them basically doing these little tasks above the head, playing these games. And they're subconsciously, they're just playing a game in their head, but it's practicing the movement, it's working on the strength, they're working on the motor control. And I mean, I think the early studies are showing that whereas like the traditional exercise plan is getting 20% compliance, early VR therapy is getting nearly 70%.
And you can track it as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you logged in and did your exercises because I've got the record there.
Exactly. Here's how many repetitions you did this week. And as tracking gets better, here was your range of movement compared to 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, you could only get your arm, your shoulder to 60 degrees. You got it to 80 degrees last week. Things like that. You can track progress, and I think there's a huge potential for it.
Are you seeing other companies already taking a bit of a land grab there? Are there other people doing this already with the technology that's available, Quest 2s?
In America, there's quite a few popping up. In the UK, I think there's only 2 other companies doing it at the moment. And none of them are in Bristol, which is good. So hopefully we're going to get that first flag in the ground. But you know what? Physios as people don't tend to be very techy. They're not very good with computers. They're usually a bit behind. They like their written notes still.
Well, just FYI, I worked for a startup for 4 years. I was like technical assistant QA, but it was a small startup, so I saw everything. I saw how they ran the company and everything, and it's called Fundamental VR, and they sold surgery simulation into hospitals.
Cool.
And exact same friction points that you're talking about here. It's a very just the way they run everything, the way the industry works, the medical industry is just so primitive. It's so behind the rest of the world and other industries where they're keeping up with technology. And at one point, it wasn't us, it was a speaker from another company, and he said, the way that people are trained to do surgery right now, in 10 years, it will be considered barbaric.
Yeah.
Barbaric. The way we learn to do heart surgery is I practice on a dead heart, practice on like a pig's heart. I then watch someone else do it, and then I do it. So it's obviously, it's a little bit more elaborate than that, but basically
not much.
saying,
not
much.
Practice something
not
dead.
much.
I'm going to live one. Yeah.
I'm going to cut your heart open. Oh, I've only done this a couple of times before.
Well, someone's got to be the first. Oh, by the way, I've never done this on someone alive before. Now close your eyes. Someone. That's a scary thought. Someone is the first ever. That's scary. But my point with that being like the physios are a bit shit with technology as a rule of thumb. But I think that's people in healthcare, they have to be more interested in people than they are in things. Else they wouldn't do the job. Just so happens I'm equally interested in both. I think because they're not that interested in technology, they've kind of missed a trick with VR for the most part. I think there's definitely, I think there is a demand for it. I think there's a big opportunity to make it work and to sell the idea of VR therapy to a lot of patients and other physios long term. But I think it's just, because they're not up to date with the technology and they like their written notes and everything in book form and they don't like the computer side of things so much. That's a huge generalization, by the way. But I think it's new and it's scary and people are reluctant to dive into it. And whereas I'm the opposite, innovator, let's go do it. Try it, make it work.
I think you are the person to do it. I think everything's just aligned for you. I mean, when you look back, how you look, what's the phrase? 20/20 vision when you look back. I think this is all lining up for you because you understand the technology. You've got the medical, you're still in training, but you're going to have the medical background for it. And also the community. You've built, how many people in Tyro? You've built a community that size. Yeah, that's insane. So everything is just pointing to you being the person to do that in Bristol.
Good. And then the world.
Tyro, called it Tyro. Tyro Physio. All right, man, I'm going to wrap this up because I do need to go in a couple minutes, but we should definitely do a part 2 if you want.
Yeah, man. Morning
keen as long as I'm
not droning too much and being too boring. And yeah, absolutely.
No, definitely not. It's a privilege to have you on here. I mean, you're such a, how do I say this? You're just such a big part of this community. You really are. Just the fact that you founded Tyro You brought that into the community. Tyro is definitely, I want to say pillar, but I don't think that's the right word. But it's like it's an element. It's something that's added to the community and made it brighter. Where it is generally people who throw around the word toxic, and I think that's a combination of just like generally a younger, immature, less mature. That's the right word to use. A less mature community, and the competitive nature of it. Any competitive sport, you're going to get toxicity, you're going to get like shit talk, and it doesn't necessarily know a limit. But Tyro has definitely been a beacon of, especially like throughout the pandemic as well, where people were like losing loved ones and like they're isolated. It's been a way for them to have some kind of connection, even if it's just strangers.
It's given a lot of people an excuse to stick around and engage with people in VR. The amount of messages I get and comments I get from people saying, you know, I would have given up VR and Echo without Tyro.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. I must get 2 or 3 messages a week from people just saying, this is really cool. Thank you for this. I'm like,
that's incredible.
What have I done? Oh, Tyro. That's cool. Oh, nice.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Awesome chatting to you.
I've been Money Mitch 26. This is Top of the Pop, and this is Keidaaski. Hope you've enjoyed.